DeSoto and the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America.
The most exciting car today is now delighting the far highway. It's the lovely, it's the Navig, it's DeSoto.
And here he is, the one, the only...
Well, here I am again with a chance for each of our couples to win $2,000. And if they're lucky, they may even get a crack at $10,000. If any of our couples say the secret word, the duck will drop down and pay him an extra $100. The word tonight is head. Okay, Duck, beat it. All right, George, who's first for DeSoto?
Jan Dietrich and John Rose are all set to talk to you, Groucho. So, folks, you come in, please, and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word, and you each win an extra $50. It's a common word, something you see every day. Jan Dietrich and John Rose, eh? John Rose, that's a simple declarative, isn't it?
I believe so, Groucho, but the name is Reese, R-O-E-S-E, Johnny Reese.
Johnny Reese, when you spell it R-O-S-E?
R-O-E-S-E.
R-O-E-S-E. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Jan, you're a mighty pretty girl, and I have a question to ask you. Are you married?
No, I'm not, Groucho.
How old are you, Jan?
I'm 29.
Were you named after January?
No, it's, my full name is Janet.
Oh.
Jan is a nickname.
Oh, I see. Do you have a job, Jan?
Yes, I'm a commercial airplane pilot.
Pilot? You look more like a hostess, with the mostess. Who do you work for, Jan?
I'm head of the flight department for the Air Oasis Company at Long Beach Airport. They are the largest distributor in the world for Cessna aircraft, and Cessna is the largest light plane manufacturer in the world.
Well, that's enough of that commercial. How much do you get for one of these planes?
They range from about $9,000 to about $56,000.
$56,000 for a single-seater, is it?
No, that's for the twin-engine, five-place Cessna 310.
Oh.
It's a beautiful airplane.
Well, I should think so. If I paid $56,000 for an airplane, it would have so many mortgages on it, I couldn't get it off the ground.
In the old days, you had to shift gears with clumsy controls like this. Wasn't easy. Later, the gear shift moved up in the world to the steering column. And then automatic transmissions brought complicated dials and levers that were impressive, but sometimes confusing. But now, here's the quickest, smoothest, easiest method of drive selection ever invented. DeSoto's great new push-button driving. A positive mechanical control. To put the car in any driving range, just push a button and go. DeSoto push-button driving is safer, too. It's out of children's reach, and it's designed so you can't make a mistake. Push-button driving is easier and safer. And to see just how fast and smooth it is, watch this professional stunt driver. Now, push-button driving is such an obvious improvement, competing cars will imitate it next year or the year after. But DeSoto has push-button driving now, so why wait? Tomorrow, drive a beautiful new DeSoto with push-button driving. You can enjoy the best this summer. Drive and price a DeSoto tomorrow. Whether you want a dependable car for that son in college, a second car for your wife's shopping trips, or a late model low-mileage family car, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer can serve you. He has used cars for every purse and purpose. So if you're in the market for a good used car at a really fair price, you'll be wise to hurry to your nearby DeSoto Plymouth dealer. And when you're there, look for the used cars bearing this TV sticker. TV stands for top value. Remember, your DeSoto Plymouth dealer is the only place in town where you can get top value used cars. Here's the beautiful motion picture star, Jean Craig.
Hello. I'd like to show you something I'm very proud of. This is my new DeSoto. Isn't it beautiful? It's long and lovely and low. Almost a foot lower than I am, and I'm only 5'5". I think its styling is outstanding, and these new fins are really striking. And what's more, my DeSoto is fun to drive, even in heavy traffic. It's so easy to handle. DeSoto's full-time power steering is the best I've ever tried. Of course, push-button driving is a wonderful improvement. It's so simple. The way my DeSoto rides, you just won't believe it until you try it. As you may have gathered, I'm very pleased with my new DeSoto. I paid a lot more for cars, but this new DeSoto is the most exciting car I've ever had.
It's the most exciting car in the world today, the 1957 DeSoto.
George, who's next for DeSoto?
Groucho, Mrs. Nina Morgan and Mr. Nicky Stewart are waiting to talk to you, so folks, you come in please and meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and you each get an extra $50. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Now, let's see. Nina or Nina?
Nina.
What is your hometown, Nina?
Napoli,
Napoli.
Italy.
Oh, you're from Italy, huh?
Yeah.
How long have you been over here?
10 years.
10 years. What was your reason for coming to this country? I assume you had a reason, eh?
I sure have. I met a soldier. I met him in a dance hall.
In Italy?
Yes.
I thought he went over there to fight.
I guess he did. He fought.
He was fighting in a dance hall?
No. He was fight after the war was over.
Oh. He went right from the war to a dance hall?
Yes. Oh, well, no.
He didn't fool around, this guy. Did he?
He sure did.
Just dropped his musket? We've had war brides on our show in the past, you know, and often they tell us that they had trouble getting into this country. Did you have
Well,
any
not
trouble?
me. I was one of the 500 girls that came over on a boat.
500 girls?
Yes.
War brides?
We all were brides.
And their husbands were on the boat, too?
No, sir, but we sure have a good time.
500 young brides all alone?
All alone.
That crew must have worked for nothing. I'll bet that's the only ship that ever ran out of gas 6 times in the middle of the ocean. Well, how'd you like this trip? Was it exciting?
It was really exciting, but it's not as exciting that the last trip I made. I was on
You made another trip on the boat?
Yes. And I was on Andrea Doria. You know, the ship is sunk.
On the Andrea Doria? And it was sunk. Oh, yeah.
It sunk.
I know just how you felt. I was in the stock market when it sank in 20 Well, that's very interesting. You're a survivor of the Andrea Doria. You were very lucky.
I was.
What did you do when this disaster struck?
Well, I was sleeping downstairs, and when I heard
You mean under the boat?
No, in bed.
Oh.
And when I heard the wreck, and I run upstairs with my pajama, and I have a curl in my head.
You had what?
Curl in my head.
Wait a minute.
That didn't scare me.
Well, Anthony Eden. You better eat it. The audience is full of Egyptians here tonight. Well, you said the secret word, which is curl in my head, so you get $50, and you get $50.
Thank you.
See how nice it is?
It sure is.
Now then, tell us what happened.
Well,
You were curling your hair when
yes, I had my curl in my head, and I had just pajamas. When I went upstairs, everybody said, outside, so I went too. And I slide down, and then we got in a line, and we slide down on a rope.
You slid on a rope off the boat? Wasn't it pretty chilly in the boat with pajamas?
Yes, and I got all wet somehow. I don't know how, but I was.
Well, I don't understand that. I don't see how anybody can get wet in the ocean. Now then, your name is Nina Morgan?
That's Nina Morgan.
Oh, your name is Nike Stewart, huh?
Nicky Stewart.
Oh, Nicky Stewart.
Nicky Stewart.
And where are you from, Nick?
I'm from the Bronx, New York.
From the Bronx. What kind of work do you do, Nick?
Well, I'm a personal manager. I represent show people.
Oh,
Personal.
well, I know what that is, but perhaps some of our listeners don't. We have an audience full of Egyptians here tonight. Could you tell us what a personal manager does, and also explain how is it you manage to stay out of jail?
Well, a personal manager is a man who is supposed to project the talents and the name of a certain personality that may be on the contract to him. He looks at us for guidance, and we must always act in a fiduciary manner to protect our...
Would you mind giving me that again?
I said we must always act... in a fiduciary manner in order to protect our client.
Well, the
all
audience
times.
knows what that means, but I don't. Would you mind explaining that to me?
Well, you mean fiduciary?
Yeah.
Well, fiduciary is a statement that is printed on all personal contracts, which means that you must at all times...
This is in very small print, isn't it?
Yeah. And it means that you must be honest with your client and you must not scheme for your own personal gains at any time.
Well, how do you make a living? Supposing a personal manager wanted to steal an honest dollar here and there from his client, how is that done?
Well, as I say, I've never done it, but
give us a for instance.
You make me sound guilty.
No. I want you to present purely a hypothetical case.
All right. Well, in the grapevine, there are several, you hear things like this. There are several unorthodox personal managers who...
What do you mean, they don't wear a hat?
Probably do. It belongs to the client. What they do is they... here's how they would do it, as I have heard. For instance, if I were trying to get one of my clients, like Joe Venuti happens to be one of my clients, ask the owner or the booking agent in charge for dinner and probably spend a few dollars on him. And I would say that I spent $500 on entertainment. And when maybe I only spent $50. That's tabbing. And as I say, there are some of these personal managers who are more or less in cahoots, and they do work things out like that. But I've never done this.
I'm sure you haven't. No, I'm sure you've never swindled a client.
Never.
But it's pretty obvious you've given it some serious thought. Now, let's say that you were my personal manager, Nick. Just how would you go about giving me one of those big build-ups?
Well, first thing I'd do for you, Groucho, would be get you a brand new audience.
What do I need a new audience for?
Well,
what's the matter with the one I've got now? Huh?
Well,
What's the trade-in value on this group?
Well, what I mean by...
I ought to get a pretty good trade-in, Nick, because this audience has only been driven by a little old lady who lives in Pasadena. Well, anyway, what would you do?
Well, I would put you on, send you out on tour, first of all, to the largest nightclubs in the country. I would project your likeness, your name, and your personality in all high schools, colleges. I would get you a new audience, a youthful audience, the new youth
the new
of today.
Crowd, huh?
The new crowd.
The hoodlums, huh?
Well, they watch television, too.
You don't want a kind of a conservative group of antiques like we have here tonight. What makes you so sure that there are lots of people who don't know me?
Well, I'll give you a personal example.
My name
of
is
that.
Legion. Groucho Legion. That's my full name.
Well, several months ago, my daughter, Tisha, she's only 10 years old, and I was sitting in the den, and she came in, and she has a little television in her room, and she called me. She says, Daddy, why don't you come on in? She says, you used to be in the business. I want you to watch the brand new comedian. And I went into the room to watch it, and there it was, the Groucho Show. So I says, honey, this man is funny, but he was a star before I was born.
Just a moment, Nick, old boy. How old are you?
I'll be 39 tonight.
You're 39. And you tell your kid I was a big star before you were born? I've just decided I'm going to hire you as my manager. Just so I can fire you 10 seconds later. Actually, 10-year-old children love me, Nick.
I know they do.
And you know why? Because my show goes on right after dinner and they don't have to do their homework. How'd you ever get into this soft racket, just collecting money from talent?
Well, I originally started out as a hoofer, what we call in the business a hoofer. I was a dancer.
Oh. Now, Nina, let's get back to you. What sort of interest do you have aside from keeping house?
Well, I work in a coffee shop at Bob's Drive-In. I sell big boys.
You sell big boys what? That's an incomplete statement. What do you sell them, huh?
Big boys.
You sell
I think
big
they all
boys
know what it
coffee?
is.
Huh?
I bet a lot of people know what it is.
What? What, do you know what a big boy is?
Well, it can be a large youth.
Isn't that Lord Blair? What is it? It's a large youth with a hamburger?
Don't call hamburgers. We're not allowed to say that.
Oh.
They're big boys.
Well, that's like on the airlines. You never say it's rough.
No.
They have a euphemism that they use. It's turbulent. This is the age of the euphemism, you know. There's no such thing as an undertaker. Nobody buries you anymore. You can die now and get buried, and you don't know who did it anymore. Turns out to be, what do they call him now? The undertaker? Oh, they have a fancy name for it now. Well, I can't think of it anymore. Well, is that what you always want to do, hawk hamburgers?
Well,
Do you have any other ambitions?
Oh, I should have. I always have a secret ambition. I want to be a dancer.
You want to be a dancer?
I always want to.
Oh, well, are you a good dancer? Well,
Well-
how would you handle a situation like this, Nick? Here's a girl who wants to be a dancer. What could you do for her?
Well, I'd have to see what she could do in dancing.
Well, you
And-
told me you used to be a dancer.
Yeah, well,
What kind of music? Could you dance with her?
I sure could if
Oh, it's called a mortuary. That's what I...
I could dance with her if the boys would give me some rhythm music.
You mean the musicians? We have a loose expression for them, and we call them musicians. What kind of music would you require?
Some type of rhythm music.
Rock and roll, you mean?
Some rock and roll, yeah. That's
Can you give them some rock and roll?
Oh, yeah.
Can you give them some rock and roll, Jack?
Oh, no.
Down here, way down here. Hey, you two make quite a team. What's your opinion, Nick?
I think she's real gone.
Yeah, she is. No, she's still here, but what's your opinion? Well, I'd like to go on talking to you, but now let's give you a chance to win some money. You both know how we play You Bet Your Life?
Yes.
Now, we want one answer between you on all these questions. You selected professions of famous people. I'll ask you some questions. If you miss 2 in a row, you're out. If you get 4 in a row right, you win $1,000. You ready? What was the famous Nijinsky's profession?
You say, do this.
Now
Well-
she talks to me in Italian. He was a dancer, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's true. He was a dancer.
1 right, 3 more, and you'll have $1,000.
Now, what was Hippocrates' profession? You remember the Hippocratic Oath?
Hypocrite.
He was the father of medicine. He was a doctor.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's up in every doctor's office. You see that oath up there, the Hippocratic Oath?
1 wrong now. Don't get another one wrong or you'll be out of the game.
Are you a Hippocrat? Or are you a Republican? All right. With what profession is the name of Jacques Fath connected? F-A-T-H. J-A-C-Q-U-E-S, capital F-A-T-H. With what profession?
an actor. I'll just throw
No,
him.
he was a dress designer, very famous.
I didn't know him.
Well, you got 2 wrong in a row, so you're out of the game.
Oh, I'm sorry you missed 2 in a row, so you're all through. Well, we don't want you to go away empty-handed. I'm going to ask you one question for $100. You ready? What was Dr. Defoe's profession? He was a Hippocratic Oath. Well, I'm sorry you didn't win more, but you won the secret word. That's $100 and $100 for this, so you got $200. Thanks for
you.
being with us. Sorry you didn't win more. You bet your life.
Now, in just 1 minute, we'll find out if our first couple, Mrs. Dietrich and Mr. Reese, will risk half their winnings on a chance at $10,000.
Now I'd like to show you something important. This is a picture of the most exciting value in cars today. This is it, the 57 DeSoto with a new low price. This year's DeSoto was way ahead of our competitors. And yet DeSoto prices start right above the lowest. It's a big car with big car comfort and big car beauty that our competitors will be imitating 2 or 3 years from now. It's low, lower than any of our competitors, but it's got as much or more room inside as any of the cars that are much taller, and plenty of road clearance, too. It's really got power and terrific performance. And that new Torsion Air ride is so smooth, you'll find it hard to believe. Then there's new triple-range push-button driving. 1 or 2 cars are imitating that now, and others will follow, but this is by far the best. Now, I'm not telling you to run right out and buy a DeSoto on my recommendation, but I believe you'll be a wiser automobile buyer if you'll drive this car. See what it has to offer, then price it. And I think you'll be surprised, because this year DeSoto prices start just above the lowest. Then make your decision. Drive a DeSoto before you decide.
Here he is, the one, the only...
Hello, you vast unseen audience out there. And thank you for letting me come into your homes. I don't mean tonight, I mean over the weekend while you're away.
Groucho, Steve Wayne is sort of champing at the bit to talk with you. An unfortunate...
Champing at the bit? What is it, a horse?
Well, Steve Wayne is out there waiting to talk to you.
He isn't champing at anything.
No, he stopped champing now. And his partner is Audrey Kaufman. She's our lovely young housewife.
She champing, too?
No, she's just standing out there. Because she's actually seeking the title of Mrs. Housing Development of the United States. You may not believe that, but that's true. She's from Amarillo,
She's taking
Texas.
it back there?
No.
She won't get her back there, I'm sure.
We'll never get her out here if you don't let me finish either. So why don't you folks
I'm not
come
sure
in
that I want her out
meet
here.
Groucho Marx now.
How did you get to Texas?
Well, my husband was transferred with an insurance company.
He was in the Army?
No, he was... No, he wasn't.
In the insurance business?
Yes, sir.
Has he sold a policy to anyone you know?
Yes, he sold most all of our friends, and he's even sold me a $12,000 policy, and I'm real hard to sell.
He sold you a policy?
Yes, $12,000.
Well, who is the beneficiary?
He is.
Well,
who else?
When you go to bed at night, be sure to have a 45 under the pillow. And don't turn out the lights either.
Okay.
Do I pick one?
Either one of you, fine. That may be a good
This is a $200.
All right, sir.
Who is the veteran character actor who has won Oscars for his supporting roles in Come and Get It, Kentucky, and The Westerner? So you can talk it over with your lady fair there. Lady Bird.
Oh, no. This is a character actor, the old man. Walter Brennan.
Walter Brennan is right. You now have two. You have now have $200.
Right.
Don't you think we work well together?
This time, you have 200 and 3 more chances to make a total of 5.
Under
Oh,
here?
here, under here, yes.
You must look, George.
Yes, I should.
Be alert.
You have it upside down.
Well, this happens to be a Japanese question.
Lily Knighton and Judy Krotzer are standing by, so folks come in, please, and meet Groucho Marx.
Well. Welcome, and say the secret word and divide an extra $100. Now, you're Lily Knighton, huh? That's Lillye. Is that right? And you're Judy Krotzer, huh?
Yes, all right.
Oh. You're awfully young to have a name like that. How old are you?
16.
16, huh? It's a wonderful age. You're just getting your first real look at the world, aren't you?
That's right.
Maybe if you close your eyes, things won't seem so bad. Where are you from, Judy?
I was born in Orange, Texas, but I've lived in California.
You were born in
most of my
Orange,
life.
Texas?
That's right.
Yeah, I played in Orange, Texas. Huh?
Oh, you did?
Yeah. In the boarding house, we lived there, and they gave us chili for breakfast, dinner, and supper. 21 meals. I had chili for every meal. Now, Lily, where are you from originally? From the Valley?
Monticello,
Lily,
Arkansas.
Where?
Monticello, Arkansas.
Monticello. I beg your pardon. Monticello is in Virginia. That's where Thomas Jefferson lived.
Well,
Were you born on a farm?
No, in a log cabin.
In a log cabin. You're not Abraham Lincoln, huh? Where'd you go when you left Monticello, Arkansas?
Oh, go to Cleveland, Mississippi.
Cleveland is now in Mississippi. Huh?
Yes.
When I was a boy, Cleveland was in Ohio. Where do you live now?
Little Rock, California.
Well, that's more like it. I remember when Little Rock was in Arkansas. Things have certainly changed since I went to school, and I guess it's all for the best, huh? Now, Lily, since you're a school teacher, you must be quite worried about today's youngsters and their education, or lack of it. Aren't you worried?
No, not at all.
Well,
I think that the children today learn more than they did years ago.
that's true, but what about in school?
I mean in school, too.
Do they bring you apples?
Oh, yes.
Why do they always bring apples? Don't they? They never bring a watermelon or anything.
Yes, I've had them bring melons, too, and pumpkins.
Pumpkin?
Thanksgiving time.
But you say that the children nowadays are much brighter than the children were when I went to school?
Yes, I think they learn more today.
Well, you ask me any question, you know.
Any question?
Well, you know, within reason, a question that I would conceivably know. I dare you. Ask an old question, you know,
Well,
like the old school I went to. This is the old school tie, yeah.
what did they do at the First Continental Congress?
That's too easy. Ask me something difficult. They just, like any other Congress, they take free trips to Europe and put their relatives on the payroll and they raise the taxes. Right?
No, that isn't right.
Apparently, you don't know much about congressmen. All right, Judy, you answer. You're one of the modern school children.
Well, that was when we didn't want to pay England taxes because we didn't have a representative in their parliament.
That's pretty good. Was she right?
Yes, she's right.
Well, that wasn't a fair question. Ask me one about baseball.
I'm afraid I don't know much about sports. I'll ask you another
You don't know
one.
anything about sports? Are you married?
Something.
Lily, are you married?
No.
No. You've never been out with a sport?
I don't think so.
Now, Lily. Lily?
Ask you another question.
Yeah. Not until you answer mine, huh? Lily, you rascal, you know you've been out with some gay blades in your... Well, ask me another one.
All right.
You keep out of this.
What is the atmosphere made of?
You mean around here, you mean? Well, in L.A., the atmosphere is composed of smoke from hamburger burning to a crisp on backyard barbecue. That's on a clear day. On a bad day, I wouldn't know because I get out of town. What's another question?
Well, let me
Make
ask
it
you-
easy, will you?
Okay.
Some time since I went to school.
How many layers of skin do you have?
You don't see that on Queen for a day. Now, would you each won $50 because the secret word was,
Skin.
what was the question that you asked me?
I ask you how many layers of skin you have.
I don't have any. I have a shell like a coconut. I don't know. I have 15, I think. How many
Yes.
layers do you have, Judy?
3.
3. How did you know that?
I took science.
Now, Lily, these are pretty tough questions you asked me. What college courses do you teach?
I teach the 5th grade in the elementary school.
Oh, no wonder I didn't know that. Now, Judy, I'm sure you're no different than millions of other girls your age. So you must have a favorite singer, don't you?
Yeah.
Who is he? Who's your favorite singer?
I like Fabian.
Fabian? What is that? Is that a new kind of bubble gum?
No, the greatest.
The greatest what? Fabian, Judy, listen to me. Fabian is a form of socialism. Isn't that true? You look that up and you'll find out that Fabian was an early form of socialism in England. Now you know about the real Fabian.
He's the
Now,
greatest.
what is this? What? Oh,
Fabian.
This bubble gum chewer that you're talking about? Well, I give up. You have your Fabian and I'll have mine, huh? As long as we don't go to the same church. Now, why are you so hipped on Fabian?
Because he
What has Fabian got that George Bernard Shaw didn't have?
Well, I like him because he winked at me and he's good looking.
Well, what happened when he winked at you? Did that do something to you chemically?
Yes, before the show, my mother had told me, don't make a fool of yourself.
Oh.
Don't scream and scratch your face and everything. So I kind of kept it to myself, but I got kind of jumpy. But I didn't let it show.
Did anybody scream?
Yes, it was middle-aged people.
What do you regard as a middle-aged woman? Approximately what age? 22?
Oh, no, that's quite... about 38 to 40.
They can hardly walk then. Must be tough for them to get around.
No, they get around quite well.
They do. Did they get around Fabian after the show was over? Let me ask you, did your mother scratch herself while Fabian was singing? Huh?
No, it didn't faze her.
Well, what does that do? Why do you scratch yourself? When you
I
hear
guess
somebody...
it's just an impulse. I mean, it's a natural thing. I mean, when you see a good-looking woman, don't you...
Scratch myself? No. Judy, when I scratch myself, it's for other reasons. I'm scratching myself nearly all the time. I don't have to wait and see a pretty girl. Do you always get jumpy inside when a male member of the theatrical profession winks at you?
Oh, yes.
Suppose I winked at you. Would that do anything to you?
Well, wink at me. I didn't feel a thing.
Well, I'll tell you what it did to me. I'm starting to scratch myself.
Now, Groucho, here's Steve Wayne, who with his partner, Audrey Kaufman, earned $500 in the quiz. And they're all set to try for the big question now.
Oh.
But first, as we promised, for the benefit of our judges in the beauty contest, here's Audrey Kaufman as Mrs. Housing Development of Amarillo, Texas.
Well, Audrey, perhaps you'll be the one who wins the title of Mrs. Housing Development of the United States. Whoever wins the title gets another trip back to Hollywood with her husband and wins the grand prize, a brand new Ford Falcon station wagon. Now, let's see if you can win the big money. That's more important at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You understand this game? You each pick a number. Now, you pick one for $10,000. And
We
what
pick
number?
We pick
From
number
1 to
3
10.
first.
You pick number 3 for $10,000, and you pick what for $5,000?
4.
You split the money, so it doesn't make any difference. Now, one of you spin the wheel, and if neither of these numbers turns up, then you're going for a total of $2,000. Ready? Well, your numbers were 4 and 3, and you landed on 5, so here we go for a total of $2,000. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's see how well you remember your high school geometry.
Oh,
For $2,000, what do you call the long side of a right triangle? Talk it over.
long side of a right triangle. The angle equal out. Angle equal out. The long line.
If you don't know, guess. Come on. Time's...
Hypothesis? Hypotheses? No. Hypothesis? Hypotheses?
Okay, close enough. It's hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse.
You were so close, so you have to give it to him.
Oh.
Now, you each have $1,000. What are you going to do with that swag?
Well, I'm going to go to Honolulu and visit my son that I haven't seen for a couple of years.
Oh, how old is he?
He's 12.
Well, that's a worthy mission. And you? Why don't you go and visit his son? He's 12 years old.
Sounds fine.
Well, congratulations.
Did learn something
And
in
thanks,
school after all.
yes,
Thank
you
you
did.
very much.
You're quite welcome.